All right, so quickly moving on to our last showcase session for the day. Can I have Osang Shukla from CapHive?
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. Uh, I promise, very quick on the context. So, because we already know this, AI market's been the rock star, growing at 5 times over the last 5 years. What we also know and expect that we just about getting started. Everything we look at, everyone we speak to thinks this is likely, high likelihood this is growing another 5 times over the next few years. Combination of capital coming domestically, globally, lot more increasing allocations. India story looking great. So all of that is great. The question then kind of came back to saying, what does this mean? What it means is lots more investors. We've already seen the market grow from moderate-sized funds which had 30, 40, 50 investors are already routinely anywhere between 100 to 500 investors. Lots more to manage on the investors, lots more portfolio companies with larger fund sizes, an increasing trend for venture funds, which is, again, significantly larger portfolios, as well as increasing structures around co-invest, SMAs, a lot more fund vehicles, and, of course, lots more compliances, right, between portfolios, funds, investors, and so on and so forth. When we went around and we started building CapHive about just shy under 2 years ago, and we said, okay, this sounds interesting. We went around what are the real problem statements, and the general theme that came around was, A, there is a need for technology to help build significantly higher operating capability for funds. A need for transparency for investors, and really I think there are two parts to this. Particularly, I think some of the funds came back saying, as we are ready to go to larger institutional investors, we want to create proactively lot higher levels of trust, because that's kind of one question that generally kind of comes back from particularly larger institutional investors and those who are still looking to enter the market. Is there a need, is there a possibility to have smarter systems to handle volumes, complexities, etc., that are coming in, and creating frameworks for institutional memory. And really, I think essentially with these insights is what we built CapHive as a holistic platform exclusively for private market funds. So we focus in the AIF context exclusively on Category 1 and Category 2s. And we look at it in 3 categories, things to do with investors, things to do with portfolios, and things to do with compliances, and create all of this in a holistic platform, so it's available. I think that was a point which was made earlier today, that can all of this sit together? Otherwise, really, how can you look at analytics? How can you have multiple systems coming in? So the objective is, and that's how we have already built it and rolled it out, is on a holistic basis. And within each of these categories, there sit multiple submodules, which allows the opportunity for funds to subscribe, hopefully to all, but really to what they need at different points of time. So for example, for investors, we start from investor CRM, so helping manage pipelines of investors, pre-marketing stage, to, of course, digital onboarding, going on to reporting. And really, I think the way we build out our platform is not just reporting, but really kind of creating platforms for engaging investors on an ongoing basis. Inbuilt for all of this is a completely comprehensive document generation engine, letting the platform automate and manage all kinds of capital management, so drawdowns, distributions, automating complex computations for either these drawdowns, distributions, or for allocations for investors. And similarly for portfolios, handling a range of computations, helping the funds do a lot of scenario analysis, reporting from the portfolio companies to the funds, and also creating deal repositories for the portfolio companies in relation to the funds. And linked to both of these, kind of effectively helping funds manage compliances in relations to investors and portfolios, so generating a fairly wide range of regulatory reports on a click of a button, a wide range of internal reports for MIS, analytics, risk management, and as well KYCs, AMLs, both in relation to investors and portfolios. So there is a lot in here, and I know I'm the last person standing before lunch, but we'll be efficient. And what we thought is, rather than talk more, we'll give you a really quick walkthrough of the portfolio of a couple of kind of use cases, and maybe that gets a sense. We can't do everything, but today, right now, but at least gives a broad sense. Sorry, I forgot to add. Around all of this, we've built a layer of AI, and really, I think, to be honest, it's evolving because there is a lot that can be done, but we're mindful of the kind of data privacy requirements our clients have. So essentially, AI is really to make things smarter, smoother, efficient. There is a lot that will kind of keep increasing this. And around all of that is a extremely kind of, as you call it, Fort Knox security protocols. We offer enterprise-grade security for all our clients. So so we said we'll pick up a couple of quick case studies to show you how the platform works. So this is one on running a range of investor computations and reporting. What is the ask? For the platform to do a range of computations for generating things like management fees, expenses, and creating allocations for fund-defined basis. Using all of this to create hundreds and hundreds of personalized statements of accounts, and on approval, go out and ship this to the investor. So the way that our platform works, essentially, you come in, you log in, there is a personalized microsite for the fund. The fund comes in, they get into the dashboard. This is, for example, just an illustration of a dashboard. The fund gets to see pretty much every single thing that they need to see around managing their fund, which is at their fingertips. We're going to go into a section which we called fund allocations. And essentially, the way it works is there are completely hyper customizable mini algos that each fund can set up. We help set that up, which will do in this case, compute a bunch of fees, create allocations, go out, create another set of investable capitals or whatever ratios that the fund may have defined, and do all of this on the platform simultaneously and go out and generate this. And the platform will essentially run this, create a full audit trail, create a basis for this to go out and do this. So when the fund does this, this is really the one-time exercise to define the formulas. Actually, it's never a one-time exercise. It's kind of, we've seen things keep evolving over time, but they're highly customizable, changing over time. You select the period for which you're running these allocations. Different funds do it. Some do it quarterly, some do it monthly. And really, I think the platform will go out, compute it for you, push out the results. In this case, for example, we said, go out, generate these statement of accounts, and it will pick up your own templates, hyper customizable as much as you need. You can push, and it can go out, pull information from the KYCs, from the investor details, commitments, drawdowns. We've had clients where we've done computations and pushed in investor level ratios as well as fund level ratios. The platform can do all of that, push it into a single document. And similar logics flow for creating fairly complex drawdown notices, commitment agreements, and pretty much a wide range of documents for the whichever may be required for the fund. It's all happening on the platform on user-defined templates. Post that, there is an approval process. So once it's approved, the platform will take your consent. We can push out notifications on WhatsApps, emails, depending on what's the preferred mode of communication between the fund and the investors. And there's a full stack investor portal, which is again hyper customizable. So the fund really kind of, for example, in this, you see this little image over here. It's really the fund's real estate. It's completely customizable. You can push fund videos. You can push fund logos, and have the ability for investors to log in and see all their statements and or any other communications, as well as communications in relation to new fundraisers or KYCs, etc. We've built a bunch of engines around this platform. So there is, amongst other things, there is a full stack actually virtual data room which sits within this platform. So hence there's complete security of documents. You have the ability to go out and personalize watermark documents, have individual level access controls, document level security, restricting downloads, prints, and so on and so forth. So that was a little kind of just a quick snapshot on the investor side. We'll take a very quick one on the portfolios. The ask here is for the fund to have real-time portfolio numbers and ratios on their fingertips, run multiple scenarios, and as well as manage portfolio company reportings. So essentially, the platform will have a bunch of predefined as well as highly configurable outputs for the fund managers to see everything in relation to their portfolios. This could be across multiple funds, multiple entities. Ability to drill down into second or third level details for each portfolio company. So the platform will concurrently at real time have a range of computations out there for cost, fee for cost, weighted average cost, so on and so forth. And then which can be pulled out for, again, the computations. We can run the computations, range of IRRs across company level, fund level, and go out and one of the asks which kind of some of our early users asked us that can we help, since we have all the information, can they automate running really complex scenarios or multi-party scenarios which may be used for risk management, scenario analysis, etc. So it happens in seconds. And then the last part around portfolio being also digitally managing portfolio reporting. I think one of the questions was how do these get done? We can accept data in pretty much any format. If the portfolio company is ready, we can take data APIs, pull them all in, and push them into highly customized, fund-defined templates and dashboards to flash on that for the user to see. So that's kind of, we can go on. We have demos which run into hours, but we'd love to kind of talk more about any of the other modules. We only touched upon a couple of sub-modules from two of our parts. Just 2 minutes on CapHive. Like I said, I think we're as an organization just about 2 years old. We went live in the market just about little under a year ago. We went live earlier this year. We have 3 categories of products out there. Core is funds, which we spoke about right now. We have a platform concurrently which sits for managing as a technology platform multi-party transactions, which we do for companies and for funds. And to support both of these platforms, a full stack capital management solution, which is really links into the companies, which supports into funds or secondaries. Like I said, we're in terms of out in the market, we're less than a year old. I think we're quite delighted. We are today helping funds manage more than 1,500 investors across 40 plus schemes. We've run a couple of transactions seamlessly, which have been executed in days. And these are transactions which generally end up taking anywhere between a few weeks to a couple of months. So that's us in a snapshot. Thank you very much. Happy to talk more now or later.
So on the technology side, this is a quick question. There's a lot of reports that generating for the investors. Now, LPs as well as GPs are now moving on to consolidated view of portfolios, right? These are done by, again, third parties like Asset Vantage and people like those. So do you have capability to serve that information requirement directly with the the information gatherer?
So short answer, yes. But at core, on the fund side, we would operate everything. Essentially the permissions would have to come from the fund. So we can auto-generate a range of reports or pull in data from multiple sources. But essentially the way we have constructed our flows, that there would be some levels of approvals, the fund to say, yes, go ahead and report this.
Right, yeah, obviously.
But yes, absolutely. So we can do internal sources which are coming to us from the fund, or from the portfolio companies directly, or from third-party data sources.
Okay, and the other question I had was, and maybe it's a question for the previous presenter as well. Have you considered your revenue model linked to asset size and not as user base?
So, that was one of the first question we'd asked. And the first 2 funds, we said, listen, how would you want us to? First 2 funds, we went and asked them, listen, how do we price, right? Very honestly. They said, do anything. Don't ask me for a percentage of AUM. So we said, okay, point taken. It was a very clear message. And conceptually, I think, at one level, we are not contributing to raising your AUMs. While we help in the, we can help in the execution, right from actually pre-marketing. We have a very fantastic, by the way, pre-marketing tool for managing, pushing videos, hyper-personalizing that, Andrew sees a different video, Ashwin sees a different video, you can see a different video. So we have the ability to do all of that. But at the end of the day, we are not we're not distributors, we're not investment bankers, so we're not really impacting your fund size. At one level, it doesn't matter to me whether it's 100 crores or 1,000 crores. So hence, we think conceptually, we link ourselves to the usage of the platform. We are a technology provider, and hence, we kind of price in that manner.
So does that not affect the valuation of your company's future?
Not really. I think the way we think about it is, we say that, essentially, what is going to work, right? So we believe that the market is huge. Market is growing in India. We are already starting. We have had some very interesting feedback from funds in other markets already. So that's how we look at it. And essentially, I think what's going to work in the marketplace. I don't we can wish for anything, but really what's going to work in the marketplace and what's technically right. We philosophically believe that what we are providing is a technology service, and technology SaaS platforms essentially need to be priced on what data they're processing rather than the value of that.
You have these three pieces, and do they talk to each other, or are they completely...
Yes.
For example, if there is an investment in a certain company and you do certain additional information for that company, is that something that the fund can see and stuff like that?
Absolutely. So it's essentially, for us, it's all one comprehensive platform that has been built on, which also allows us to scale quite rapidly. So there are extremely complex permissioning systems within it. So just because you come on board, you don't get to see anything until the person specifically allows a particular user of a particular entity to do. But beyond that, it allows you to do everything. So hence, essentially, it allows us to manage, which as I said, so a portfolio reporting into a fund. If the fund so wanted for a particular investor, we could kind of give all see-through access, or help run transactions for funds in relation to their LPs. LP secondaries is just, it's not even a nascent market in India. All over the world, it's a multi-$100 billion asset. And, willy-nilly, while most people come in from a long-term perspective, as we get into hundreds and hundreds of investors, there are times when people need an exit. And really, it's no one's day job in the fund to manage it, because if you have to manage 5 people who want to exit, there are rights with another 95 who need to see that. The CFOs and the team are already kind of struggling with things. Fund managers, other things to do. So it's just a complex thing. Our platform can really get that done in literally with a few clicks. Hence it has to be interlinked. Otherwise it's a new setup each time. So everything can talk to each other, and that's how we can kind of create a lot of synergy in data flows and analytics depending on what the funds need.
I'm sorry, who do you see as your main competitors?
So, that's a great question. I think at one level, we believe that no one does this holistically. No one. We looked at a lot of large platforms globally, and a lot of them are really essentially some reasonable, very nice front ends. But a lot of it is really kind of, very manual processes at the back end. So it's essentially that's a service. Or there are large kind of service providers, including in India. So that's a different market. We are not in the business of providing service. We'll sit as a product. We could plug in with the fund. We are very happy plugging in with their service providers equally as well, to kind of sit on top of that or sit below them as may be relevant. So we don't see ourselves as competing with the service providers as much as wanting to collaborate and grow. But of course, I think there are multiple kind of folks who are doing this. There was a presentation right before us, so, I think since the market is going to grow, which it is, there will be more people coming in. So it's really the onus is on us to grow. I think what we think our real competitive edge is that, what we've built in a short period of time and delivered. I think the onus is on us that can we keep innovating? Can we adding more relevant tools for our clients? And I think eventually that's what will determine. So, yeah, go ahead, Santosh.
So I have a couple of questions. So you did mention, just adding on to the previous question. So you're not competing with service providers, right? So it's a pure platform play.
Correct.
See, today, especially in the funds which you are operating. So today, most of the alternate investment funds are very boutique in nature, and they operate in a lean structure. So they don't want to have a large manpower. So in that case, cost of outsourcing the service to a third party administrator itself is very, very cheap. So why would somebody have to go for a platform and add a service layer in terms of having an operations team to do these activities? That's question number one. So maybe I'll just take the second question after this.
Sure. No, I perfectly agree with you, right? I think, in terms of, for a small fund, would they want kind of two sets? Maybe, maybe not, right? For a larger fund, they may want multiple aspects. So it really, I think, goes on to saying, defining what is it that the fund wants. If the fund wants saying, listen, I want to outsource all of this completely and not look at it at all, then actually they don't need a technology product, right? There are folks who said, listen, I don't really care, how that's getting done as long as it's getting done. There are folks who've come to us saying that, listen, we've actually want to ensure that it's being managed completely. There are funds who've come to us that, listen, we've got this really complex computations, and that's how we actually kind of build this computation engine, which has become a mammoth engine today. That as we're running now, multiple funds, hundreds of investors. The fragility of those computations, whether be it in-house or outsourced, eventually is on some shape and form Excel sheets. And either the fund manager is not comfortable with it, the CFO is not comfortable with it, or in some cases, their large LPs are not comfortable with it. And that was the question saying, hey, listen, why can't all of this be automated? I mean, AI computers do a whole lot more complex things than this. And I think so that's kind of the user base we speak to. And the third part of that question, I think, which we particularly hearing in some of the global markets already, early stages, is that we're saying, hey, listen, I do need to give it out to a third-party administrator, either for regulatory reasons or for my LP commitments. So I'm not going to take that away. But I do want to have a bunch of shadow books maintained. I do want to ensure that, I know what has happened and I can kind of go back and question. And, so essentially, in some cases, that's how we plug in. So I think it depends on the use case, really.
Sure. And the second last question is, see, on the portfolio, this is on the investor servicing side. So now from a portfolio manager's perspective, so you typically operate in private markets, right? So both private credit as well as a private equity, not on the public market space.
No.
So you also mentioned that various analytics which has been created, like IRR computations and few other fact sheets for the portfolio managers. See, especially in private market funds, always there is a stale pricing. The valuations are going to be once in 6 months. So there is nothing real time unlike a public market. So what is that value a portfolio manager would derive from this platform?
So a couple of them. First, on static historical information, the need for building this platform as people came in for two folds. We have funds with, clients with multiple funds. They are on to perhaps their fourth fund. They have a couple of other co-investment vehicles on the side, etc. It is a lot of information for the fund. And they are still lean and they want to remain lean teams. So, you have access to a single source of truth that this is really the XIRR of, this fund. This is really the XIRR of, 5 companies in each fund vehicle. So it becomes a lot. And, the multiple Excel sheets, we've had kind of funds giving us historical information, 2 sheets with different information, and then saying, oh, wait a minute, actually, one of them is an older version. So that's, I think, use case one with which we started building that. And the second part becomes a lot more scenario analysis. So really forward-looking to be able to hyper-customize, run a range of scenarios, set in rules for bull case, bear case, bunch of things, so which help in those decision makings or risk management. I think that's where really it comes in. And the third part is that essentially, even if it's not there, we still need all of this information. If you had to automate creating statement of accounts, running allocations, portfolios are eventually any which way is important part of that. So if you don't have that, it becomes tougher to, it becomes impossible to do.
Sure. Thank you.
Please.
Hi, I'll pick up from where Senthil left. See, a lot of information and a lot of things which you are offering, like a drawdown to investors, distributor, your CRM. we fund houses were already having an RT end to us, okay, an FA end and an RT end. The data primarily flows from the AMC to the FA and then again to the RT, and then it is made. So as you said, you're customizing the drawdown format and everything and communication and just hyper customization. Now, major part of it is the RT is already doing it for us. Okay, so where do you come in? How do you value add to it, that continuum already?
So I'll answer, I'll give you two specific answers to that question, right? In terms of how where we coming in, and the last answer will be we don't come in everywhere. Simple, right? Because it really depends on what the client wants. One case is where there are hyper complex computations. That's kind of one use case where and I don't want to get into very great specifics here, but people there are exceptionally complex rules to compute how the capital is called, and that's on an ongoing changing basis. Eventually, whether it's happening by the fund or by an outsourced agency, is still manual. And is it leading to errors? Is it leading to back and forths and challenges? I think that's where some people have came. That pretty much all of this platform has been built on user feedback, and funds say, hey, listen, we would want this. So there are funds who want that, saying that, listen, I'd like to ensure that there is a full audit trail. It happens at a touch of a button and happens in seconds. So that's one use case where people actually want to ensure that there is a system running it, and we can go back and check it. The second part is where even if it's not hyper complex computations, but funds saying, you know what, I'd like to do it myself. I have multiple funds. I would like to, some funds say that, there is a, model of, giving it out to an RTA, and the RTAs do an outstanding job of that, there's no question about it. But a lot of funds saying that, listen, I would like to run it myself. I would like to have control on my communications. I would like to interact with my investors myself and create that. But, I don't want to create a 20-member team to do that. I still want to do it with one person. The platform allows you to do that. Please.
So I'll refer to what you answered right now, that we as fund houses, we want to control the data. And so does this platform have anything to do with your analytical data on the fund performance itself also, which might or might not be required by the investor or one of our business partners? Does it also generate complex reports on fund performances?
We can, so far we haven't come across a complex use case which the fund couldn't do in a few minutes. But there are, if one thing we realize, every fund is different. Every fund has, sometimes with the same fund house across funds, they are different, right? And that's the nature of the market. The platform has ability to hyper personalize and run those things in that manner and create those as much as you want. Eventually we answer saying that, that's a short answer to most questions is yes. The correct answer is saying, let's kind of get into a little demo data. We'll run it, and then we'll let the platform answer that can it do it or not, and are you happy with the result or not.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone for being a lovely audience. Thank you, Aditya, for having us here.